Who wouldn't want to receive a plate of homemade sugar cookies? In this second part of a two-part series, we'll learn how to decorate sugar cookies like a pro. In this episode, we're whipping up a batch of royal icing. We'll learn how to thin it to just the right consistency, how to pipe the outline, and fill in the cookies to make them look like they came from a bakery, right here on Lori Garcia Studios. You'll need half a cup of water, 4 tablespoons of meringue powder, 4 cups of powdered sugar, and 3 teaspoons of clear almond extract. First, add half a cup of water to your mixing bowl. Then add 4 tablespoons of meringue powder. I like to buy my meringue powder at Hobby Lobby or Michael's and use their 40% off coupon. Mix it on low just till it's incorporated. And then we'll add a pound of powdered sugar. That's about 4 cups. A lot of sugar cookie recipes tell you need to sift the powdered sugar first to help prevent clumps. I've learned that sifting doesn't really make a difference, so I skip it. I'm all about keeping it simple. Once combined, increase the speed. Oh wait, I knew I forgot something. I usually add the extract before the powdered sugar, but not today. And you know what? It turned out just fine. Make sure you use clear though, because you'll want your icing as white as possible. Beat for a couple of minutes on high. Now let's check in on it. Not stiff enough. We'll want to hit the stiff peak stage. Let's give it another couple of minutes. Now that's what we're looking for, nice stiff peaks. Another way that you can tell that you've reached the stiff peak stage is that your icing will get caught in the beater. Don't forget to throw a dishcloth over your mixing bowl when you're done. This will make sure your icing doesn't dry out. Now we're ready to make the individual colors. Scoop some icing into a smaller bowl and add food coloring. I like the liquid gel food colors because you can dispense it more accurately. Here I've added a few drops of green and about half as many yellow drops. I'm always surprised at how much food coloring it takes to achieve the look I'm going for. I think I'll add some more here. Now that's better. Now, let's look at the icing. It's still very thick. We're going to want to thin it out. Icing sugar cookies is all about the consistency of the icing. I like to use 2 icing consistencies. The first is for outlining and flooding the cookies, and the second is for decorations. Here we're making the first kind, for outlining and flooding the cookies. Keep adding small amounts of water until you reach the right consistency. Here we are, just about perfect. I like to say this is the consistency of runny peanut butter. Notice how when I drizzle it with the spoon, it slowly loses its shape. This is what we're looking for. Next, we're going to fill the icing into this tipless disposable bag. I absolutely love these tipless bags. I'll add a link to where I found them on Amazon in the comments. They give you tons of control over the icing, and there's no tip to clean. What I also like about them is that you cut the size of tip you want, so you can cut it small or large. One thing to note, you need to press along the tip with your fingers to ensure the bag doesn't stick to itself. Here we're going to cut a fairly small hole to ensure the outline for the cookie is perfect. Now it's time for the fun part, decorating the cookies. You want to hold the bag and apply medium pressure so that the icing flows out of the tip. Note that the tip doesn't ever touch the cookie. but the icing floats down to where you want it to go. If the icing is breaking, try applying a little bit more pressure. Just float above, letting the icing fall onto the cookie. Once the outline is done, increase the pressure that you're squeezing the bag with and fill the middle of the cookie. This is called flooding. Go along the edge and move around the cookie lightly, moving the icing as you go. A lot of tutorials on icing sugar cookies will make a pretty stiff consistency icing for the outlining of the cookie and then make a very thin consistency for the flooding part. The problem with this is twofold. First, you have to make an extra icing consistency, and that's just more work. And secondly, the thin flooding consistency tends to leave a lot of ugly air bubbles in your cookies. My way of icing, using the same icing consistency for outlining and for flooding, hardly ever has any air bubbles. And there you have our completed tree. Let's see that again. Outline the cookie using a medium amount of pressure, pushing the icing out of the bag, all the while floating over the cookie, so that the icing gently lands on the cookie as you move your hand. Another good thing of using my outlining and flooding method is that you can easily fix mistakes, and I make a lot of mistakes. If you draw an outline wrong, you can easily fix it. With the traditional icing method, once the outline is drawn, there's no way to change it. After you practice a couple of times, it will get easier. You'll know how to balance the amount of pressure with the speed you travel with your hand. Practice makes perfect. Next, we use the same consistency icing for the trunk of the Christmas tree. Here I've made a mistake in my outlining, but no worries, I can easily fix it and fill in the mistakes. Note that I didn't wait for the leaf part of the tree to dry first. I just started icing the trunk right away. Now we're making our second type of icing, the thicker consistency I use for decorations. How do you know if you've got it right? I usually test it on some parchment paper, but it was too hard to see on camera, so I'm going to use this test cookie. I know the icing is thick enough because it holds its shape as a ball, but if it were too thick, it would have little spikes in the middle of the ball. Really, it's all about trial and error and knowing what you're looking for. We'll make little Christmas lights on the tree to give it some decoration. The green part of our tree is not completely dry yet, but dry enough that the white Christmas lights will float above it. Let's see that one more time. And there you have it, our finished cookie, made at home, but it looks like it came from a bakery. With a little practice, you too will be making these delightful treats just in time for the holidays. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I'm Lori, and this is Lori Garcia Studios.